Hey everyone, it's Stephanie again, and you are tuned into the review of Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 3. Before we get started, don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be the first to find out when I post these videos. All right, guys, I am struggling this week. I'm like really tired. I barely had a voice earlier today, so I don't know what's going on. I think I need to stop running around. But I wanted to jump on and do a quick review this week, and hopefully next week I'll be feeling a little bit better and can give you something a little more in depth. But I definitely didn't want to skip this week. So let's just jump in. I'm going to give you some points of reference for each couple that I saw, and then we'll go from there. So thank you everyone who commented about Johnny, because a lot of you guys commented about his the culture being so important into the facet of why he is so focused on his father and getting that approval. So I completely agree with you guys. I was like merging 2 episodes in one. So absolutely that plays a big factor. So we're kicking it off obviously with Bao and Johnny. Absolutely that plays a big factor into the significance of wanting his father's approval, no matter how much he was in his life and how, disconnected that relationship is. It's not going to change that he wants that, and respectfully, culturally, he definitely needs that. I still listen. So far, so good. Okay, we're only on episode 3. We finally have all the couples married. I mean, Married at First Sight knows how to do anything. It's to stretch something out because it's 3 episodes. I think the first episode was like 3 hours, so it's 3 episodes. And they're now finally all married. I still like Bao and Johnny a lot because I feel like this episode really, or this season so far to me, has really been intentional about connecting the cultures and really connecting couples who have those similarities in culture and what they want. I mean, I know it's early, but I try to be optimistic at the beginning. I love that they both have the same background because both of it is very important to them. They both thought that the tea ceremony was really important, and presenting the tea to the elders, and that stuff is so significant. And when I talk about having 5 non-negotiables in what you're looking for in a partner, a lot of it are things that no matter how great this person is, it's not going to work. And so, like, for them, cultural competence and connectability is really important. And I think that's going to take them a long way. Here's where where I see a struggle is the need for physical touch. They speak different love languages. And if you guys, by now, I feel like a lot of people have heard about love languages, but there are 5 love languages, primary love languages. So they're physical touch, acts of service, quality times, words of affirmations, and I always forget when I listed physical touch, acts of service, quality times, words of affirmation, and gifts. Okay, so these are the big 5, and a lot of times we tend to show our love in the language that we like and not necessarily in the way that people express it. So Johnny's love language obviously is touch. Well, her language is not that. It's I don't know if she even mentioned that, but let's say hers is acts of service. If he's always showing that he loves her in touch, which she says is low on her totem pole, like the last thing she needs, she's not going to feel loved, even though that's his intention. And if she shows him love in doing all these things, he's not going to feel loved because his primary love language is physical touch. So that is something that they're going to have to learn to grow on. Bao is going to have to get uncomfortable and do little things to make him feel loved, and things that will help. First of all, this is unorthodox, right? So they just met each other 5 minutes ago. And so it's like, here's what I need. And touch is very intimate. And so that could be a struggle for a couple who one person is not really a big toucher, but someone is, and they've known each other for a long time. That could be a struggle for a couple who've known each other for a long time. So you add the effect of this couple just met at the altar, it's going to be a problem for them, because Bao, when she said that's the lowest on her totem pole, I was like, oh God, because it's an adjustment to just learn to be more physically intimate with someone that you do know, even if that's not your big thing, more or less someone you're just learning. But I love that they affirm each other in the fact that they're attracted to each other. She says, you know, you're such a gentleman and you kind of ask for permission, especially so new. And that is attractive to me. And you can tell that he's attracted to her. And, you know, I'm glad that they put it out there. Hey, I really love physical touch. Like, these are things she needs to know, whether she is comfortable with it or not. He needs to know that that's not big on her list. And that is something that they know. Okay, off the gate, that's something that we're going to have to work on. And I forgot to mention last review, he said that his mother never told him that she loved him. That's just not something that he really grew up hearing. So that is really important too, to where the thirst for that real intimacy comes from. Mom loves him for sure, but a lot of families, they're families that come and everybody hugs and kisses and it's very, very communal and very normal. And families that are very stoic, and that's not the way that we demonstrate love. So the way that we grow up, the dynamics that we have with our family dynamics is incredibly important because it demonstrates itself in relationships and in your marriage. So with Bao and Johnny, we have great foundation here, great things that they can work on. And then also some areas of improvement that can make or break their relationship. But you know, it's just 8 weeks. I mean, there are people who've been married for years that are still learning each other because marriage is an evolution. So, and people continue to evolve. So despite that, I still feel good about Bao and Johnny. I like that they, you know, all the couples really talked to the other party's friends and family members and got some background information. And, I still really like them. I think they're great. I love how they match well. And yeah, there'll be things for them to grow on, just like there are for all the couples. But they're still really match really well for me. And I like that she said, you know, I've always had a crush on Johnny. That was like, that was serendipity for me with how they've been matched because they did know each other 10 years ago. It's not random for me with them. So I really hope, y'all, I really hope like 3 months from now, we're not saying something different, but we could be because it's Married at First Sight. So that is Bao and Johnny. Next, we have Mirla and Gill. Mirla and Gill, listen, in some ways I could see how Mirla and Gill could work out. I have apprehension though, because I see some big red flags with them. Their value system is very different. What he values is not necessarily what she values and vice versa. The thing about marriage, especially as you get older with being married, is you're set in your ways. And so now you have to collaborate with someone, and some things do have to change. Some things do have to shift. And so when she was talking to Gill's, I forgot who I think it was his friends. The guy was like, you're kind of high maintenance. And the woman was like, some things have to change. Now, I will say this, because I've read a lot of the comments. A lot of people think that Mirla's the ice queen. Mirla doesn't necessarily present all sweet and soft. I'm sure it's in there. She doesn't necessarily present that way. But I do not like when people, you know, all automatically, you know, value the fact that he doesn't spend money the way that she does. I don't necessarily think that the way she spends money is negative unless she ties her value or the value of people to things. So what we're seeing based on how this has been, you know, produced is that, yeah, she values those things over people, but she may just like nice things. She may, you know, be able to afford them. A lot of people will say, well, what if you can't afford them? That's when we really don't know what her situation is. We don't know that, because me and my husband were talking about it. You know, his perspective, and he'll get on here probably in the next couple of weeks, is, you know, people living beyond their means and valuing that, which I totally agree with, that being wrong. But we don't know what Mirla has going on. We don't know she's investing and doing whatever she's doing that would make it okay for us. And at the end of the day, as long as she's not neglecting her life or stealing it or neglecting people or doing something wrong or whatever the case may be, she can spend the way that she wants. The problem is when it becomes greater than people. And we haven't seen that yet. We just see that she likes labels. So I feel like they were kind of hard on her in terms of your high maintenance. Like for someone who is significantly more than Mirla, she's not high maintenance. So it's really a perspective thing. Kimora Lee Simmons, I love. Okay, I love Kimora Lee Simmons. One time she was doing an interview and the interviewer said, you know, some people say you're too much. What do you have to say to those people? And she was sitting by the pool with the biggest shades on, and she was just like, for some people I'm too much, for some people I'm not enough. And so I just do what I want to do, because depending on where you are in life, it may be too much, it may be too little, and I can't live my life according to the expectation of people. And I never, ever forgot that. So I want to cut Mirla a little bit of slack. I want to see her as a person. I don't care if she spends a lot. I don't care if she likes Chanel bags or whatever. She likes Chanel bags. Okay. Gill does not have access to those resources. I think he said he doesn't make as much, and he doesn't value those things, and that's perfectly fine. And I think that's great. I think where it'll be a problem is if they don't find a way to meet in the middle. And maybe what I would advise a couple to do is have a limit where they feel like they need to discuss it. Anything over X amount of dollars, we need to discuss. We need to have a conversation. Maybe have a joint account where here are the things that are mutual. Here's where we're going to invest our money. Here's where we're going to do XYZ. And then there's play money for each side, because you are an adult. You know, when you've been alone for so long, or you've been taking care of yourself, you're now not going to ask for permission for every little thing. And I don't really think that's fair. I think it's important to be smart, to invest personally, to really think about the future, to be on the same page with those things, but also to continue to leave room for individuality, because you guys still are two people, and hey, he might like XYZ, or he may want to do XYZ. She may like this or whatnot, you know? So I don't think it's all cut and dry. I think because she presents like a nice queen and she presents inflexible, that may be a problem. But I just have to see more with Mirla and Gill, because initially I didn't have good feelings. I don't necessarily have warm feelings now, but this is why a mediator is so important in relationships, because we can hear and see outside of the situation. Like I always say, when you're in it, you can't see around it. And so it'll be really important for them to have a third party, an outside resource, to help them hear each other, because people listen differently when there's another person in the room, and then also to kind of help them communicate more effectively. But you know, they like each other, they're both attracted to each other, they have a common cultural background as well, so they're able to communicate with their family members, which is really important. And it's not all bad with Mirla and Gill, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't have high hopes, but I feel that there could be some connection there that could possibly go the distance. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's gonna work out, because that's just a gut instinct that I have, but it's not that because it couldn't. It just might be that, you know, maybe people are not ready to make the change, or as ready for marriage as they thought they were, or whatever the case may be. It's early, but that's my gut instinct with Mirla and Gill, so we shall see. Next we have Michaela and Zach. So a lot of you guys are saying that you felt like, even though they're a great couple, Michaela was a lot for Zach. I mean, I don't know. Zach is pretty laid back. Michaela is a burst of energy. I think that that's why they work. Yeah, it could be a problem when it becomes a problem. But I don't get any bad feelings from them just yet. I think the game changer for them is the strong family support that they have. I think that's really, really important for any couple. And so when both sides really want to see people succeed, it serves as a strong foundation, because whenever you're having a problem, you're going to have people kind of coach you from a positive perspective. So Michaela and Zach, to me, I still really like them. I think that it was interesting. Their Michaela's conversation with his parents. I mean, it felt like kind of awkward a little bit when the mom was going on and on about the things that he likes. It felt like, okay, this is kind of weird, but whatever. It happens, it happens when you're meeting people, and the things that they're saying, and you're just trying to connect and take everything in, and some of it is like stuff you're interested in, some of it is not. It's a lot when you think about what they're actually going through and how it's being like presented. They did not cut Zach any slack. That one sister was like, listen, we are watching you, okay? I don't think it's bad to especially in this situation. Listen, I don't know who you are, so I'm going to pull you. If this was me and this was my sister, I would definitely be like, welcome to the family. We are looking to see how you're going to treat our sister, because we care about her. She has a family that's behind her, that is not going to let her just deal with anything, that will interject if she's being hurt. Do I think she could have sprinkled a little more sugar on it? Sure. But I don't think the message was terrible. She was hard on him though. But I don't think the message was terrible. I think that they're both like just excited to be a part of it. I really like that Zach, when they said, why should you trust us with your sister? I like that Zach said, just look at what I do, because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what you say you're going to do. I want to see it. You could say anything at this point. You're excited. This is like a pink cloud right now. Let's get to reality. When things start to really happen, that is going to be proof of who you really are. So I like that he didn't say, oh, all these, like he was on a campaign trail and saying all the right things. I like that he said, just watch, just watch and see how I treat her, because that'll be the best indication. For me, that felt very genuine, and that he is here for the right reasons. And I don't think the age thing is that big of a deal. They're only 3 years apart. He seems more mature than his age, and I think that so far so good. Okay, there are things that will probably pop up. We heard about Hurricane K. I'm looking to see how that works, and when they really fall into some sense of normalcy, because we know the next few episodes will probably be the honeymoon. But I still love them. Still a fan fave for me. So that's Michaela and Zach. Next, we have Brett and Ryan. So Brett and Ryan finally got married. Yay! Last couple to be married. Now everybody is married. I thought it was sweet to watch them. So let's see. The red flags for me, I don't know that I saw any red flags just yet. Ryan said that that's not necessarily his type. And what's her name? Brett asked his friends, hey, am I his type? And his friends kind of like, no. I think his friends cleaned it up though. I really do. I think they handled the question well, and saying, well, you're not his type, being honest, but his type hasn't worked out. We all, and it made me think of how we do have this thing where we say this person that I want to be with has to be X, Y, and Z. And how often that isn't the thing that we get, and isn't the person that we need. And there's hundreds of thousands of couples that can tell you, oh, this is not the person I thought I'd end up with. Or at first, when I first met them, they were not someone that I wanted to be with, or they had to grow on me, or my spouse is everything that I need, and I was focused on these petty wants, and they're exactly what I needed in my life. So that's not a red flag for me. I mean, initially it was like, that's not my type. And I think she said he wasn't her type too, but I feel like it felt more like well, I'm not his type, he's not my type either. I don't necessarily know that if his friends would have said, you're exactly his type, that she would have said, he's not my type. I don't know. That's just the vibe that I get. But the reality is they both are happy with one another at first glance. And yes, it's an adjustment, but at first glance, they're happy with one another. They have good chemistry. I would say Ryan's interest with like country music and country life, and her being like, that is so far from anything that I've ever considered, and I'm not into that. Lifestyles might be different, and so that might be a little bit of a red flag, but we got to see. I haven't seen enough to say, okay, that's definitely not going to work out. But there's some stuff there. She seems a little, Brett seems a little wired in terms of like, I don't know, when they were dancing, it was kind of like, don't spin me, don't dip me, don't, she was really uncomfortable and couldn't really just take the moment for what it was. So we'll see how that manifests in other areas of their marriage, but so far so good with them. I didn't get anything I was like, oh, this is horrible. And Ryan was very funny to me when she got out of the bathroom and he was in bed and she said, do you have shorts under there? And he's like, I don't know, come find out. Listen, to me, you can fix anything with laughter, and you can really create a bond and an ease when you don't take yourself too seriously and you crack a joke and you're funny. Humor has often like built a connection and a pathway in a place that it wasn't there, because it softens you. It's like, let's not take ourselves too seriously. Let's have a good time. And so I think if they keep that up, that could be really good for them, because that could just allow them to get to know each other as friends and not take themselves so seriously. So I like Ryan and Brett so far. I think that it'll be interesting to see how they match up, because if they're saying that they're not naturally each other's types, then there's definitely some reasons why. But they both seem to be committed to marriage, ready to get started, ready to get going. So that is Ryan and Brett. Okay, so last we have Jose and Rachel. So Jose and Rachel were a pleasant surprise in the sense that they both were really happy with each other. And they were natural. I'm jumping around. I was a little worried. Like, Jose was the wild card for me in terms of, he rests on his accomplishments and this level that he has reached. And so I haven't been able to find someone on my level, which really blocks him out from really getting to know people, and almost kind of puts him in a I'm better than. He's not saying that, but that's like the subconscious messaging here. If they haven't done XYZ, or look at this, I've done all of these things, so this person needs to do that. So that was problematic for me with Jose. But they were very enjoyable to watch. Jose and Rachel seemed very natural. I didn't know if he was going to be attracted to Rachel, just because kind of the way that he presents. I was thinking that he was going to, expect this whatever. And Rachel is beautiful, but I just felt like Jose was going to be difficult, to be honest. But he is very attracted to her. He really is so happy with who he's been matched with. She's so funny and just so down to earth, and she kind of made the whole thing be at ease, and they both connected really well. She's attracted to him too, and Jose is handsome. So I'm like, okay, this is great. Here's where it was just like, there's this one scene that it was just so uncomfortable to watch that me and my husband laughed out of discomfort, because we were just like, oh my God, like what she said is not what she meant. And now he's kind of thinking this thing. So when they're, talking, he basically says, you're everything that if I would have put down exactly what I wanted, they gave me what I wanted. You're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And she said that she didn't really focus on looks too much. She wanted a great personality. And he's exactly that. So what she meant was, he's handsome, but I'm not heavy on looks in terms of like, he has to look like XYZ. It's really important that he has a great personality to him. The way that translated was, you don't look that great, but man, you have a great personality. It was awkward. It was so awkward. I was like, my mouth was open, and I just couldn't stop laughing, because that's what I do when I'm uncomfortable sometimes. But I was just like, oh my God, that's not what she means. And I wish I could have just jumped in the TV and said like, Jose, that's not what she meant. She does find you handsome. Look at her. Like, you guys are kissing and hugging and very natural physical chemistry and just having a good time. And of course, in the rest of the pictures, it was kind of awkward, and because he's now in his head. And I would love to know where that insecurity comes from, to where he's always kind of like, what if my wife is not attracted to me? Or he said that many times. I hope she's attracted to me. I hope she's physically attracted to me. That's come up a lot. And it's almost like it manifested itself. And the thing is, you have to be careful what you say, because you will literally speak into existence what you're saying, both good and or bad. And if you go looking for something, you find it. So even if it's not the way that she meant it, because of his insecurity, it's what he heard, even though it didn't come out the best. But he's already so insecure about it that it's what he heard. So I really hope that they can clean that up, because that was the thing where I was like, oh God, like now he's sitting here, like thinking that the thing that he feared the most is actually true when that is not the case at all. And they seem to be off to a great start. And once again, they have a similar cultural background. I love the exits for all the weddings. It was very, you know, it was very synonymous to who they are, or the things that they are interested in, or what they do. Like Mirla and Gill, they went off in the fire truck. I thought that that was cool, for them, you know, because he's a fireman. Bao and Johnny with the dragons, that was so cool. The mariachi band with Jose and Rachel, they really were intentional this season, and it showed, and it added some personality, and it added some connection, I think, for us as viewers watching this episode, watching this season, to make it feel more real. Because if they've heard anything, I think, is that we're exhausted. You know, watching this, sometimes it's exhausting and it feels very microwave, and these seasons are coming sooner and sooner and closer together, and it seems rushed. And this season seems intentional, at least with the aesthetics thus far. So I love seeing that, and everyone is off to a good start. Okay, everyone is off to a good start. We have a little hiccup here and there depending on what couple we're talking about, but you know, it's I think it's great. I think it's great. I'm looking forward to more. I hope that they can clean that up, Rachel and Jose. I hope that that comes up and they can put that to bed very quickly, because it's a non-issue. It's really a good example of how a couple can quickly miscommunicate, and it becomes this big thing that really is the size of a mustard seed, because it's not that deep, and it's just like, oh, I said it wrong, that's definitely not what I meant. Sometimes you have to look at what people are doing. She's so physically engaged with Jose that clearly she's not unattracted to you, you know. So that's it for this week's update and review. As always, don't forget to subscribe and share, and let me know what you guys think. I love all the comments. You guys are helping me out here, as well as I read things and stuff that I forget. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week. Everyone have a wonderful weekend.